Hey everyone, forget everything you thought you knew about crime. Today, we're diving into a world where fear and power intertwine in a sinister dance. Have you ever wondered how ordinary high school kids transformed into America's most brutal threat? We're about to uncover the shocking truth about a gang whose tentacles have reached every corner of the globe. If you watch until the very end, you'll discover a secret agreement that changed the face of street warfare forever. Get ready, because after this video, you'll never look at the world the same way again. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Imagine Los Angeles in the 80s, a city of dreams, but for thousands of refugees from El Salvador, a city of survival. They fled civil war, chaos, and death, hoping to find peace and security. But what did they find? Poverty, discrimination, and new dangers. Their children, lost between two cultures, ended up on the streets where different rules prevailed. Immigration isn't just about new opportunities, it's about new challenges. Young Salvadorans with nowhere to find support found themselves at a crossroads. Without family, without protection, they were easy prey to existing gangs. But instead of breaking, they decided to create their own protection. Thus, Mara Salvatrucha, or more commonly known as MS-13, was born. Initially, it was just a group of teenagers who banded together for self-defense against Mexican and African American gangs. Their goal was simply to survive, to protect their own. They weren't seeking power, they were seeking safety. But the streets of Los Angeles are not a playground. Here, only the strongest survive. And to be the strongest, you have to be ruthless. Very quickly, self-defense turned into aggression and survival into domination. Cruelty became their language, fear their instrument. The first members of MS-13 were ordinary guys, but they had the spirit of warriors. They had seen war in their homeland and weren't afraid to continue it on foreign soil. At first, they wore simple tattoos symbolizing their affiliation, but soon these tattoos covered their entire bodies, transforming into a kind of uniform, sinister and recognizable. Their world is one of codes and silence, where betrayal is punishable by death. Their only homeland is the gang. Their only family is their brothers in arms. How did this teenage group transform into one of the most dangerous transnational organizations? Deportation played a key role. In the 1990s, U.S. authorities began mass deportations of gang members back to El Salvador, hoping to eliminate the problem. But this proved to be a fatal mistake. Imagine, instead of destroying a virus, you simply spread it around the world. Deported MS-13 members returned to a country even more ravaged by war than the one they left. El Salvador was plagued by poverty, corruption, and a complete lack of law and order. And here, MS-13 found fertile ground for growth. They brought with them American criminal culture, their laws, and their ruthlessness. And very quickly, they seized control of entire neighborhoods, turning them into their strongholds. Their methods shocked even seasoned veterans of the criminal underworld. Ritualistic killings, intimidation, extortion, drug and human trafficking, these were just a small part of their business. They didn't just kill, they did it demonstratively, to sow maximum fear. Their symbols, their graffiti, their tattoos, all were part of their propaganda, their message, "We are here and we won't stop."
One of the most chilling examples of their brutality is the purges they carried out within their own ranks. If someone dared to break the rules or betray the gang, a torturous death awaited them. This was a public punishment, ensuring no one would dare to think of defiance. Legends of such purges spread quickly, cementing their reputation as ruthless killers. But MS-13 is not just a collection of thugs. It's a complex, hierarchical structure where everyone knows their place and role. They have their leaders, their cliques, sections, their territories, and although they are scattered across different countries, they are united by a common ideology and a shared goal: power and money. Their codes are strictly adhered to, and anyone who breaks them pays with their life. Remember the story of Al Capone, who controlled Chicago during Prohibition? Or the Mexican cartels that wage real wars for control of drug trafficking routes? MS-13 operates on the same principles. They create their empires where their law is the law, and their justice is justice. They answer to no one but themselves. Their conflicts with other gangs are not just street brawls. These are real wars where each side fights for territory, influence, and survival. The confrontation with the 18th Street Gang, their sworn enemies, has become a legend in the criminal world. These gangs constantly clash in bloody showdowns, leaving a trail of violence and death. Every shootout, every skirmish, it's all part of this eternal war. Unlike old mafia families who preferred to stay in the shadows, MS-13 often operates openly, demonstratively. They are not afraid to attract attention. On the contrary, they use it as a tool of intimidation. Their graffiti isn't just drawings on walls, it's a statement, a warning, their flag. But what makes them so elusive? Part of it is due to their ties to local communities. They often use fear and intimidation to force people into silence. Witnesses disappear, evidence vanishes, and authorities find themselves powerless. This creates a vicious cycle where the gang grows stronger and society becomes more vulnerable. Their funding methods are astounding in their ingenuity and brutality. Extortion is their primary source of income. They tax entire neighborhoods, small merchants, even ordinary residents. Fail to pay, you pay with your life. This is real racketeering that paralyzes entire cities. But MS-13 isn't just about the streets. They've also infiltrated prisons, turning them into their training centers. Behind bars, they recruit new members, teach them their laws, and plan new crimes. For them, prison is not punishment. It's a university of crime. And when they are released, they become even more dangerous.
How do governments around the world try to combat this threat? In the US, a task force dedicated to fighting MS-13 was created, combining the efforts of the FBI, local police, and other law enforcement agencies. They conduct large-scale raids, arrest gang members, but the problem persists. The roots of MS-13 run deep into society. In El Salvador, the situation is even more complex. The authorities there have been fighting the gang for years, but with little success. Gangs control entire neighborhoods, and their influence permeates all aspects of life. Some even say that MS-13 has become a kind of parallel state, with its own laws and its own army. Can MS-13 be defeated? Some experts believe it's impossible. After all, it's not just a gang. It's a phenomenon, a culture, a way of survival for thousands of young people who have no other choice. But others believe that with comprehensive measures, education, social support, and strict law enforcement actions, their influence can at least be weakened. Recall the story of how the Italian mafia in America seemed invincible, but over time, thanks to law enforcement efforts and societal changes, its influence significantly diminished. Perhaps the same fate awaits MS-13, but the path to it will be long and difficult. So, MS-13 is not just a gang. It's a living organism that constantly adapts and evolves. It's a reflection of social problems, poverty, inequality, and despair. It's a mirror reflecting the darkest side of human nature. Their story is not just a criminal chronicle. It's a lesson in how easily one can lose their way when driven by hopelessness, about the fragile line between self-defense and brutality, about how even the most innocent beginnings can turn into a nightmare. This story is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind every story about MS-13 are real destinies, real tragedies, real suffering. And we cannot just close our eyes to this, because if we don't understand the roots of this problem, it will continue to grow. Well, friends, I hope you felt all the energy and tension of this criminal legend. The story of MS-13 is not just a tale of a gang, it's a warning for society as a whole. If you found it interesting and watched until the end, hit that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments what other criminal story you'd like to hear. If we get 5,000 likes, I'll tell you about the most secretive FBI operation to infiltrate the heart of a Mexican drug cartel. You won't believe what happened. See you next time.